Hi everybody, this is Gijs again and I hope you are doing well. This is not a review, but it is the tutorial on how to pitch the Hilleberg Helags. Enjoy the video. Welcome back to the tutorial on how to pitch the Hilleberg Helags. And if you have seen the video review that I did on the Helags, then you know that this is the two-person version. But everything that I do in this video also applies for the three-person version. Now that I've said this, then you know now that I did a video review on this tent. So if you've not seen that review before you've seen this tutorial, then please hop over to that video. The link is below in the description, and then watch the how to pitch video maybe after that one, because well, basically the review is more important if you are planning to buy a tent like the Hilleberg Helags. For those of you who just tuned into my channel for the very first time, it might be polite to introduce myself. My name is Gijs. I am a Dutch outdoor gear, bike and sometimes gadget reviewer. And yes, I live in the totally flat Netherlands, but this video I'm shooting well, somewhere in the middle of Sweden at the place of a friend of mine, with a lot of peace and quietness and a lot of space. And well, you can't see it, but on that side there is a wonderful lake. I'll put some images on top of this one. Now, if you like this video after you've seen it, and maybe after you've seen the video review that I did on the Helags 2 as well, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel, because well, with more of you, it's more fun to me to make these kind of videos. And if you already joined my channel, then welcome back. It's nice to have you here again. Now, you see how I pitched the Helags 2 at the moment. And of course, this is not the correct way, because it does not look really nice. The guidelines are not attached. Even the pegs are not on the right way into the ground. So let me pack everything together and we will start all over again from the start. Now let's start from the beginning. The Hilleberg Helags 2-person in each pouch. And if you want to know everything about pack size and weights, then watch the review video that I did. Now let's get it out of its pouch. And then what you will see, and I'll put my foot on there because there is a little bit of wind, is that in the pouch there is of course a small pouch with pegs. There are 16 pegs in total. And now, even if there's no wind blowing, I would advise you to take one peg and use it to put the bag somewhere out of your area where you're going to pitch the tent, but to make it secure that it won't blow away. Now, what you will have seen maybe is that I packed the tent rolled up nicely together, and in the center there is the bag with the poles. I like to do it this way because every time when I want to pitch a tent, this is for me a sort of standardized method that I can pitch the tent fast. Some of you might like to put the tent in its bag just by squishing it in the bag itself, not fold it nicely together. It's up to you, it's what you like, what you're used to. But if you do it this way, then open the zippers first, because otherwise you might damage the zippers when you're stuffing it in. And don't put the poles into the bag, because then you might damage something as well. Now let me get these two out of the way and unroll the tent. And of course I prepared this a little bit, so I should be a little bit careful on how I do this, because I need to have, of course, the color-coded pole sections or the pole sleeves on that side. And I need to have it all in frame, so I've got 4 spots marked where the corners are. Live over YouTuber. Small one. Now, lay it out like this. And now you see immediately why I like to do this in this way because now I've got the tent nice laid out where it should be. Now again, if it's blowing with a lot of wind, then please tie the tent down on some end with a guy line just to prevent it from blowing away. And in this case it's a little bit stupid because there's hardly any wind, and the wind that's coming is coming from that way, so no risk whatsoever. Pegs, put them over there. Now let me show you the poles, and if you've seen the review then you know all this already. Inside the pouch there are 3 poles, and there is one pole repair section in case you break or damage one, and there's also this sleeve with instructions that if you need to repair something, that's possible too. And now I can feel some wind coming, so pegging it down was not that stupid. Same for this one, like so. Now the poles, there are 2 poles that are the same and 1 pole that is different. And there are a lot of stingy flies around here, so you will see me waving sometimes. Now what you should be aware of is that when you use the poles and for pitching, then when there is elastic band holding every section together, that you don't snap it, because the tip of this part that goes into the other part, it is very, very hard, and you will damage the other pole section, which is not that hard, and then this will slide in less easy. What you also should know or do is pay attention to is that they slide in completely, because sometimes this happens. You don't slide it in totally, and now the pole is in totally way weaker than it is when it is completely in there. Just be aware of this, that's all. Now as you can see, this is a totally yellow one. Then I have the second one. Let's do that one. And sometimes the elastic band, because it is good elastic band inside, the pole sections, they snap together by themselves. Now this is the other one, and you can see clearly the red tapings on the ends. So this is the different pole, and in this case for the Helags it is the middle pole, which is a little bit longer because in the middle of the tent is a little bit higher than the other 2. Now just because this is a video, let's start from the back with the first non-marked pole. There is the fabric, here is the pole, no color, just black. So what goes in there is a yellow pole. And just do it gently like this. And sometimes when you've packed the tent a little bit wet, this goes a little bit less easy. Do it gently, because otherwise you might damage everything. Now on the end there is a cup holder or a sort of reinforced fabric. That's where the pole end should go into. And then on the other side, and now it's going to be nice and easy, you will see that there is a cup holder and a tensioner. And a lot of people don't use the tensioner, but put tension on the pole and the pole sleeve, because in this way the tent is more beautiful when it's pitched, but it's also stronger. Now I like to put it down again because of wind. Now the second one, and then you will see that here is the red marked pole sleeve. Same all the way to the end. Put it onto the ground there and run it through, and then it goes whoops onto the cup, and again use the strap to pull it tight. The last one, also the non-marked one. That's the nice thing about totally symmetrical tents. What you should be aware of with these Hillebergs, it's not only this one, is that the guy lines, they're long and they can be tangled sometimes with the poles or the pole cup holders, and again, let's pull it. Now, since I've marked everything very clearly where I should peg the tent, because this is a tunnel tent, which is totally symmetrical in that way, but also in that way, of course, pitching it is very, very easy. Just take the rear, and this is, it doesn't matter if you take the rear or the front ones, of course, but this is just because of the camera, and put the peg in the ground. Now, the peg, it should go in at an angle of about 45 degrees, all the way to only the tip of the peg is visible. And then you will see that the metal ring that is attached to the strap will be nicely into the notches of the peg itself. And be careful not to damage the little ropes that are on every end of every peg. Now, and this is why I like tunnel tents so much, because all you do is like this, and this is like magical. Hopsa! Take this one, put it here, 45-degree angle, use the stone all the way, and sometimes when you peg it down all the way, you sometimes forget that you pegged it down, and when you de-pitch it, or when you peg it, is de-pitching a word in English? I don't know. Please let me know in the comment section. De-pitching, pegging. Then, well, sure, I am prone to lose pegs, because that's why I have this red one from another tent. I lost one of the Hilleberg pegs. Now, does it look okay? No, it does not. Let's do this again. Like so. Use the stone. Whoppa. Now, this is the nice thing about a tunnel tent like the Helags. It only needs 4 pegs to be pitched. And when there's no wind, when you're not expecting any awful weather, this is fine. If you're sleeping inside, your stuff is inside, the tent won't go anywhere. But for the sake of the video and the tutorial, of course I need to use every peg that there is. And now there's one thing. In this bag there are 16 pegs, and they are to pitch the whole tent. But the one is over there. So let me use the rock that I've left over now and take this peg. Rock, that won't go anywhere. Now let me start on this side, and what you will see is that when I peg the tent, I leave the guy lines at its longest position, and then I put it here. The reason for this, now there is a rock. That won't go any further. Be careful with the stone if you use it as a hammer, because the tips where the notches are, well, they can break, of course. Why I do it like this, and I'll do that one to show you it a little bit better. Oh, this is what I meant. Sometimes they get underneath the poles. Let's do it over here. That one goes in nice and smoothly. Now, the guy lines, they are together sort of an angle of 90 degrees. If you take the two of them, 45 degrees like this. When I de-pitch or break down the tent, that's probably the word, then I always get the guy lines into the shortest position again, with about 15-20 centimeters of play here. Because in that way, the guy lines, they are the longest and they are the furthest away from the poles and the tent. And that means that the forces, if there's going to be a lot of force on the tent by wind, is going to be divided into the ground on the most proper way, how the tent is designed. Now, let me do all the other ones. That one goes 45 degrees. This one goes straight, like so. And be careful, because if you've done the other side as well, then don't pull the guy lines too hard. Don't put too much tension on them, because that means that if you put tension on this, you put tension on the pole sleeves and on the poles. And what you will see is that the tent will be deformed. You see now it slackens. And this is not how the tent has been designed. It's been designed like this, so that rain can flow off the fabric. If you pull too hard, it goes like a almost flat roof, and rain will just sink in here, and you will end up with a puddle on top of your tent. So don't tension them too much. Now, this one, and now this one is the one that I already used to secure the tent from the wind. That one, this one, so now I've still got a few pegs left, and I can use them for these loops at the end of the poles. I like to do it in this manner, so that the tent is literally secured to the ground. Most of the time I don't do these, but for video's sake, let's be neat on this. Rope out of the way, 45-degree angle, and all the way down. And I can tell you, this is not the first time that I've shot this video, because this is actually my second attempt. Because at the previous one I forgot to put on, or to turn on, one camera. And that's because I have got new cameras, and two that are different, so they don't work the same. Now this one, this is the one that I borrowed from another tent because I lost one. And this one, okay, that one there, stone on top. Now, always do a sort of final check before you put everything into the tent, and make sure that you've used all the pole tensioners. They're done. This is nice. Now, one little tip. Now I'm pitching the tent while it's absolutely dry, also packed dry. So when I pack the tent, also these straps and the straps on the pole sleeves, I loosen them completely. And when I pitch the tent, they are in the most loosest position, so that I can pull them to get the tent more beautiful, or more stretched out, to get more tension on the fabric. Now, when you pitch your tent when it's still a little bit moist or wet, don't do it like this, because what happens when the tent fabric dries with sunny weather like this, it tensions, and then if these are totally loose, you've got no way anymore to relax the fabric. And that's what you really need to do, because otherwise you might damage the fabric itself and also the seams. Now, this is basically how I pitch the Hilleberg Helags. And now let me show you a few tricks that I've probably also mentioned in the review itself, but that I think are absolutely nice. Because one of the good things about this tent is this front part, and also on the back it's absolutely the same, because the opening, like so, when you roll this away, make it that you do it in a manner that if there's anything moist in there, that it will go down nicely. What I do like about this tent is the fact that this is the normal opening. Then if I take this one, I have a bigger opening. But now the beauty is that if I take this one as well, and this is why I absolutely love this tent. You've got a very nice panoramic view from inside. Oh, this one is loose. From inside the tent to the outer world. It's like a painting with a frame around it. The landscape is absolutely beautiful from inside here. Now, because of this, what you also can do is if you take away the inner tent, and it's just a matter of getting toggles out of a little ring. And it doesn't take much effort. And I can do this, of course, now it's in the middle still connected, but if I take that one out, then you've got a beautiful tent that will give shelter without the inner tent to about 6 persons. And if you travel for a day hike lightweight, then of course you can only bring the fly and the poles and the pegs just to have a shelter in case the weather turns absolutely nasty. Absolutely brilliant. What you also can do is you can use the inner tent separate from the outer tent, as for example with beautiful weather, like a mosquito tent. And then you will need to buy a set from Hilleberg with basically pole cup holders, if that's the correct word, because you need them to pitch, of course, the tent with the poles, because there are no pole sleeves in the inner tent. So that's something that you need to do. What you also will see is that I don't have the floor or the footprint with the tent, but there is one available from Hilleberg. It will keep a little bit moist out of the tent, and it will also be a protection for the floor of your inner tent. Just that you know this. Now, one other thing that I will show you, which is quite nice, and I love this toggle system. It is so user-friendly. And this is not the only tent that has that, of course. Now, when you are experiencing a lot of bad weather and you still need to cook, let me put this one. Now, where do I have the peg? There should be a peg. That's the nasty thing what happens if you put the pegs totally into the ground and only the head sticking out, even with the rope. Where is it? This is the one. Where is the other one? There's the other one. Then what you can do, of course, if you need to cook and the wind is coming from that direction and it's raining, then you have got a nice shelter. When you fold the inner tent backwards, a little bit more sheltered place to do some cooking. And even when you close this one, it will still be a sheltered place. Everybody tells me always never cook in a tent, but when it's cold, raining, it's what I do. It's outdoor life. So let's get that one out of the way and put it onto its peg again. And then, before I start wrapping this video, let me put this together for the next time that I pitch the tent. One thing that is quite typical to these Hillebergs is that it's got, animal, go away. Sorry, I normally love animals. One thing that I like about Hillebergs, which is also a little bit deceiving, is that the green fabric, it makes it, well, very neutral in the landscape. I like for photography and film the red ones better. But the yellow inner tent, even when it's outside pouring with rain, when you wake up in the morning it still looks on the inside like it is a very sunny day, and then you open the tent fabric and then you see like, oh hell, this is not a beautiful day. Hilleberg. Now let's close this last one, and then a few tips on how to de-pitch or pack the tent or break down the tent. You tell me which is the correct one, please. Of course, it's the reversed way of pitching the tent, but don't forget to loosen the straps. 1, 2, 3, and make sure that all the guy lines are back into a sort of 15 to 20 centimeter position. Well, I didn't change much about this, so I can take out all the pegs. Except for one, of course, because even when the tent is going down, I don't want it to blow away. That one. I always do the 4 corners. The last one, and now you see that the wind has shifted a little bit. So let me do this one first. That's where it is. Stay, stay, stay. Okay. This one and that one. Put it down. Now, take the last peg out, because I don't think it's going anywhere. And make sure that when you take all the pegs that you count them, because, well, like I said, one red one because I forgot to count one time. Again, when you take the tent down, take the pole cup out of here, the middle one and the third one, and basically getting the poles out of the pole sleeves is also the reverse way. Don't pull on that side, because then the elastic band will go like this. That will snap together with the fabric. You might get a puncture. So push it, take it out like so. That's one out of the way. The second one, and be sure that the pole end on that side is not pointing into the grass or rocks or ground, because then it will not work. The third one, and again, if it's very windy, make sure you've got the tent on one position or peg down. Again, if you pack your poles, do it gently. Pull it out, fold it together. Don't go like tick, tack, tack to be quick. Doesn't work, you will damage your stuff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And these poles, they are from the Korean brand Duck, and they are Featherlights NSL greens, which means that they are made in a more environmentally friendly way. But again, that is also in the review. Now get the peg bag and the pole bag. Just a little bit of sand. It's always a good idea to, when you get home and your tent is not totally dry, hang it out, dry it, and also clean your pegs, because what you might have seen is that there's quite some dirt in the bag. But I'm traveling already for a while. Poles in there, pegs can go over there, poles over here. Now, let me be nice on this, like so. And if you do this in a structurized manner, which is sometimes pretty hard when there is a lot of wind, but it really helps you when you want to pitch the tent again. Good. Everything folding together, nice in the middle. And just for the record, I checked that there were not too many insects on the inside of the tent, because they've got a life too. So get rid of things that live in your tent before you do this. Hoppa. And then what I do is fold it to 1/3, get the poles, put them in the middle, roll the tent like this, stone, bag. Now what you might have seen also is that I did this exactly the same way as I did it previous time, but sometimes I fold it the other way around, not to get marks on the tent itself, because that's the reason why a lot of people just like to put it in there. Now, pegs, be careful with them, put them nice below. And now I'm done. This is how I pitch the Hilleberg Helags 2-person version, and like I said in the beginning, everything that I did in this video applies for the 3-person version as well. Now, I really hope you liked this tutorial and that it was useful to you. And if it was, then please give the video a like and consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. And on that channel, there's way much more to watch. For example, the videos that I did on my gadgets from DJI, like my drones that I use to shoot nice B-roll cinematic footage. But also a review on my very nice Lundhags authentic pant. I really love it. The boots, Lowa Axels GTX Mid. I just released that one a while ago. And the other one, well, you may have seen it on my belt. It is the Morakniv Kansbol. I've been using it for a couple of years now on all my trips. It's wonderful for fire making, for chopping wood. Absolutely a super knife. So if you like what I do, keep watching on to my other videos. Thank you for this moment. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the outdoors and stay safe. Ciao, ciao. And now with this beautiful weather, I'm going to do some fishing, because it is a huge lake. And last year I was here as well. I did a video on quite some stuff that I'm using to shoot this video. For example, a power bank. But I got a giant trout. Bye.